To the Threx dominion, Earth was a forbidden world, a cursed place spoken of in hushed hisses. It was not just hostile. It was alive in all the worst ways. Boiling oceans, toxic flora, irradiated skies. No intelligent species could possibly evolve there. So when a crash landing forced a scout team onto that cursed blue sphere, they expected death. Instead they found a human. He was laughing at the storm. Threxian log classified entry 731X. We landed in Sector 19, planetary designation, Earth. Initial environmental readings were worse than expected. Oxygen too dense. Gravity unstable. Weather systems erratic. Electromagnetic pulses interfering with neural comms. And then, we saw him. Biped. No exosuit. Not hiding. Just standing in the acid rain. Laughing. Captain Chorin clicked his mandibles in disbelief as he reviewed the feed from the outer probe. The creature was pacing a hillside as lightning tore open the sky above him. Wind howled like a living predator, ripping through dead trees that swayed like skeletal dancers. But the figure? He strolled with hands in his coat pockets as if this storm was a leisure activity. Is it some form of madness? Asked Submind Ixit. A cognitive defect? No, Chorin growled, antennae twitching. He's aware of us. Look, he's waving. The human spoke first. Their translator AI struggled. At first, it thought the human was issuing a threat. Then it realized he was joking. Hey there, Spider Squad. You guys lost or sightseeing? You're a long way from Alpha Centauri's tourist brochures. Spider Squad. Ixit repeated. He's addressing us with levity, Chorin said. He thinks this is funny. Welcome to Earth, the human continued. Population, 8 billion. Weather, pissed. Wildlife, aggressive. Locals, stubborn. Hope you brought a first aid kit and a therapist. He grinned. White teeth and a rain-slicked face. Why hasn't he succumbed to the toxins? Ixit hissed. The rain contains sulfuric compounds. And the wind velocity. He's not even blinking, Chorin whispered. And then, without warning, the human walked toward them. Instinct screamed, flee. Threxian training conditioned soldiers to stand firm against plasma fire, black hole grenades, and neural flares. But this creature moving casually through a planetary hellscape like it was a Sunday jog? It triggered something deeper than fear. It triggered doubt. The human stopped a few meters away. He crouched beside their probe drone, tapped its casing and gave a thumbs up. Neat little bot. Looks like a chrome roach. Name's Walker, by the way. You folks have names, or do you just buzz and stare? Chorin stepped forward, weapon lowered but ready. Designation, Captain Chorin of the Threx Scout Division. We require environmental assistance. Emergency landing. Walker squinted. Wait, you crash-landed? And you picked Earth? He chuckled. Man, you are lost. They followed him. Not because they trusted him. Not because they weren't ready to vaporize him the moment he made a hostile move. But because they didn't know what else to do. Nothing in the Dominion's war manuals, first contact protocols, or xenobiology codices had prepared them for this. Walker led them through a gnarled forest teeming with glowing fungi and predatory vines. Watch out for those. They bite. No, seriously. I lost a boot last month. Chorin turned sharply. You live here? Born and raised. Well, not exactly here. Bit farther inland. But I backpacked through this region on a dare. Got stung by a porcupine wasp. 3-day fever. Hallucinated that I married a cactus. Good times. The Threxian concept of humor had no defense against this. By their standards, survival was sacred. Serious. Meticulous. They revered calculated precision. Walker. He called their crash an unplanned adventure, and offered them coffee from a rusted thermos he pulled out of a rock crevice. It's strong. Boil water through your eyelids, kind of strong. But hey, welcome to Earth. Chorin sipped it. Instant nausea. Liquid fire in his thorax. Your kind consumes this willingly? He choked. Walker smiled. Daily. Twice if it's Monday. This planet should be dead. Ixit muttered, scanning another toxic geyser eruption nearby. No wonder the Dominion marked Earth as uninhabitable by sapient life. It's the most aggressive biosphere we've encountered outside a neutron field. And yet, Chorin said slowly, this one thrives. They turned to watch the human climb a cliff, barefoot, humming some chaotic Earth rhythm about fire and rain. He had no weapons. No armor. No allies. Just attitude. Then came the earthquake. Not a metaphor. Not poetic exaggeration. A real seismic rift, ripping open the ground beneath them like a wrathful god clawing upward. Threxian stumbled. Walker. He jumped on a slab of shifting rock and rode it down like a surfer in a tsunami. He landed in a roll, popped up and shouted, "You guys okay?" That was a 5.8, pretty mild for this region. Mild? Ixit shrieked, clutching a dislocated limb. Oh yeah, we call this stretch Wiggle Alley. Earth likes to dance. What kind of world was this? Storms hunted the sky like wolves. Plants hissed. The moon itself bled red once a week, which Walker casually called lunar mood swings. And yet, you still choose to live here? Chorin asked. Walker leaned against a jagged tree, arms crossed. Hell yeah, it's ours. It's ugly, loud, dangerous, and unforgiving, but it's home. And it makes us strong. He gazed into the horizon where thunder lit the bones of the mountains. You aliens call it hell. We call it Earth. And anyone tough enough to survive here. Well, let's just say we don't scare easy. Then for the first time, they saw it. A black shape streaking across the sky. No noise. No heat. Another ship. Not Threxian. Walker's expression darkened. That's not one of yours, is it? No, Chorin growled. Pirates. Scavengers. Likely following our emergency beacon. Yeah. Then they're in for a treat. Walker pulled something from under his coat. Not a weapon. A flare gun. He shot it into the sky. Seconds later, response. 2 Earth fighter jets screamed overhead. Told you we weren't alone. Earth had eyes. Satellites. Drones. Listening posts buried in stone. And Walker? He wasn't just a survivor. He was a spotter. A first contact vanguard placed in the wild zones as bait. As warning. As message. Tell your Dominion, he said quietly as the first pirate ship exploded overhead. This hell you fear? We were forged in it. And we're not alone anymore. The pirates never made it past the stratosphere. And that's when the Threx realized something terrifying. Earth wasn't uninhabitable. It was armed. The Dominion thought they had sent scouts into wilderness. They had unknowingly stepped into a fortress camouflaged as chaos. And now the real warships were on their way. The smoldering wreckage of the scavenger cruiser lit up the twilight sky. Threxian Captain Chorin stared at the burning debris as it streaked across the clouds like a falling god. That was a classy raider, muttered Ixit, antennae twitching. Hull shielded. Quantum scramblers. It shouldn't have gone down that fast. Walker didn't look up. He just sipped his scorched earth coffee. That was just 2 raptors with low-range kinetic lances. We've got meaner birds if the visitors want to try again. Something shifted. Until this moment, Chorin still thought of Earth as a strange mistake. A biological anomaly, a fluke. But that ship wasn't just destroyed. It was tracked. Intercepted. Annihilated without warning. By a planet everyone in the galactic archives labeled primitive. Your kind is supposed to be pre-FTL, Ixit hissed. You're not even listed on the Starforge Ascension Index. Walker finally looked up, eyes flat and calm. Yeah. That's what we want you to think. They never noticed. That's what Walker said next, leading them across a narrow cliffside trail above a molten canyon. Your Dominion, all those sensor arrays, empire-wide surveillance? Still missed the truth. Because your eyes are too big. Always staring outward. Never down. You thought Earth was unworthy. Untamed. Below you. That made you blind. He pointed to a tower in the distance, half sunken into a mountain. It wasn't alien. It was human. Old, corroded, but still humming with power. Chorin ran a scan. What he found made his carapace itch. Hidden weapons grids. Obfuscated tech signatures. Adaptive mimicry systems. Things far beyond Dominion-level stealth. Earth wasn't just wild. It was camouflaged. On purpose. And the Dominion was coming. Chorin received the signal mid-descent through a dead valley strewn with bones. It was a direct beacon from Admiral Thalnax. Scout Unit 73X, we have tracked your emergency ping. Extraction force en route. Orbital insertion in T-4 planetary hours. Full fleet contingent. Prepare for decontamination and system cleansing. The message ended with 3 simple words. Purge protocol ready. Purge? Walker repeated. That's cute. He squatted beside a rust-colored skeleton, some ancient earth predator with fangs like daggers, and pulled out a metallic stick half buried in the dirt. A beacon. No, a key. He twisted it once. The ground beneath them rumbled. Then opened. Come see what we bury. They descended into the old Earth war bunker. Built under the bones of extinct horrors. hidden behind geology's fury. Inside, lights flickered. Dust swirled. Yet the power core pulsed like a heartbeat. Wall by wall, the Threxian scanners picked up sealed armories, tactical AI pods, pulse arrays, experimental suits, and, most damning of all, starship schematics. Your kind built interstellar weapons, Ixit whispered, before you had interstellar travel? We never needed to leave, Walker replied, eyes glinting. We just needed to wait. The Dominion ships arrived. 97 vessels. 11 dreadnoughts. Orbital razors. Planet breakers. From the edge of the thermosphere they cast a massive shadow over the atmosphere. To any lesser world, it would have been extinction. To Earth, it was invitation. Walker stood on a rusted tower, wind blasting his coat, watching the alien fleet descend like angels of death. He smiled. I was hoping they'd send Thalnax himself. I owe him something. The battle didn't start with guns. It started with static. The Dominion fleet's comms went dark. Their targeting systems glitched. Heat maps inverted. Navigational data corrupted. Threxian Admiral Thalnax assumed it was environmental. Then he saw them. Small objects rising from Earth's oceans, volcanoes, and clouds. Not missiles. Drones. But not Dominion design. Human design. Fast. Silent. Lethal. The sky screamed. From 20 hidden craters across the continents, plasma pulses erupted. No declaration of war. No warning. Just return fire, surgical and overwhelming. The first Dominion dreadnought broke in half before it realized it was being jammed from the ground. Thalnax howled. Deploy the Atmos cleaner. Burn this planet until only ash remains. He didn't realize. They were already being watched from orbit. Project Avalanche. Earth's defense grid wasn't in space. It was space. Satellites forged from mined moon core. Stationary rail platforms disguised as weather probes. Laser arrays coded into auroral fields. The moment Thalnax issued the burn order, the sky fired back. And Earth didn't miss. Meanwhile, on the ground, Walker looked up at the fireworks storm above. This is your rescue party? He asked Chorin. Kind of rude to bring genocide to a camping trip. Chorin didn't answer. He was staring at the data pouring in from his fleet. Every ship. Gone dark. Except for one. Thalnax's command cruiser. Was retreating. The planet grinned. Earth didn't just survive. It baited a galactic empire. And made them bleed. All while laughing in the rain. Chorin turned slowly. His race had charted thousands of systems. Conquered hundreds. But they had never, ever, faced a planet that pretended to be helpless. Walker offered him the coffee thermos again. Told ya. This place doesn't kill you. It sharpens you. Then he said the final thing that changed everything. You aliens thought Earth was hell. But we made it heaven compared to what we can unleash. We chose to stay grounded. Because you're not ready for us out there. And somewhere, above the clouds, a Dominion admiral screamed into a black screen. While Earth, that so-called hell world, washed. Admiral Thalnax didn't run from war. But now, with half his fleet torn from orbit by a planet that wasn't supposed to fight back, he was doing something he'd never done in all his campaigns. He was retreating. And even that might not save him. Because the human on the surface, the one his data logs flagged as Walker, specimen unknown, wasn't Earth's leader. He was just a scout. And his real mission had only just begun. From orbit, Earth looked broken. Scarred continents. Volcanic eruptions. Electrical storms. Ruins visible from space. Dominion databases listed the terrain as biochemically volatile, class Delta unsuitable. But that same unsuitable planet had just crippled Thalnax's fleet. And somewhere beneath that scorched surface, their scout was still alive, with the humans. Thalnax's talons scraped the armrest of his command throne. Send another detachment. This time, a full shock battalion. His second-in-command blinked. Sir, what if it's not enough? Thalnax's voice dropped to a growl. Then send everyone. Meanwhile, on the ground, Walker didn't look like much anymore. His jacket was half-burned. His boots left black prints on the ash. The coffee thermos was now dented from deflecting a plasma bolt, which he still insisted wasn't intentional. And behind him, Captain Chorin and Ixit walked silently, no longer prisoners, not exactly allies, just witnesses. Because now they knew what Earth really was. A riddle. A trap. A sleeping colossus pretending to be chaos. So, Chorin finally said, what are you? Walker paused beside a cracked obelisk covered in moss and solar panels. Told you, he said. Just a scout. There are others? Walker smirked. Millions. Beneath them, something awakened. The Earth wasn't done talking. Sensors deep underground began to flicker. Some Dominion built, others alien, none of them human. But one by one they all read the same thing. Seismic harmonics. Something was rising. Not tectonic. Constructed. An ancient. The vault's opening, Walker whispered. Chorin could barely speak. The last time his kind found a vault, it took 300 cycles, 10 armies, and 6 extinction events to open. Earth had one just sitting here. Walker adjusted a device on his wrist. An old, cracked thing with a screen too dim to read. The vault responded. With a pulse. Not a signal. Not light. A feeling. The sky dimmed, though it was noon. Birds fled in silence. Mountains echoed like drums. And from the cracked basin below them, a structure rose. Hexagonal. Glowing. Covered in scripts older than Dominion language. Walker exhaled. She's awake. Inside the vault. It wasn't a base. It was a library. But not one made of books. Memories hovered in light, wars, histories, star charts, warnings. Holograms of humans in suits that shimmered like stars. Machines shaped like animals. Maps showing galaxies that no longer existed. Ixit stared at one diagram, a star system where the sun was cracked in half. What happened there? He whispered. Walker looked grim. That's where we retreated. Earth wasn't our home originally. It was our last bastion. The truth finally hit. Earth wasn't some random biological anomaly. It was a refuge. A fortress of last resort. A place where the greatest military civilization humanity ever built, the Terran Reach, chose to vanish. Not because they were defeated. Because they were waiting. For this. For you. Above, Thaunax was preparing his final move. He activated the Dominion's ARC protocol. Planet shredder units. Molecular destabilizers. Solar lens weapons. We won't fight them, he said. We'll erase the biosphere. Salt the soil. Make the mistake of Earth disappear. That's when his screen lit up. Not a Dominion frequency. A human one. Walker's face appeared, drinking coffee again. Hey Thowley. You're about to make another mistake. Thaunax snarled. Speak your final words, Terran. I'll etch them on your grave. Walker just grinned. You still think I'm the threat? I'm not even ranked. The vault unlocked. From the central spire, something emerged. Not a bomb. Not a ship. A man. But unlike Walker, he wore armor that bent light. His eyes glowed with surgical focus. His heartbeat made nearby electronics blink. Chorin gasped. Ixit fell to his knees. Even Walker stepped back. Colonel Arwex, he said. I thought you were sleeping another century. Arwex cracked his neck and looked at the sky. They woke us early. Good. The real Earth had arrived. From tundra vaults to sunken cities, more Terran warriors rose. Each one with rank emblems that hadn't been seen in 10,000 galactic years. Their weapons sang to the air. Their armor drank light. They didn't march. They moved like consequences. Thaunax watched in horror. Every Dominion asset targeting Earth began to fail. One by one, satellites went blind. Ships lost orientation. The sun dimmed, not naturally, but as if something stood between it and them. A fleet. A human fleet. One that hadn't launched, but had returned. Because Earth wasn't just defending itself. It was calling home. A voice spoke across all channels. You entered restricted territory. Terran space. Trespass is a declaration of war. And then, in languages no longer spoken. Welcome to hell. The Dominion had gods. They had myths. They had doomsday scenarios stored in vaults too sacred to speak of. But nothing prepared them for what rose from Earth. They didn't meet the end of a species. They met the return of its beginning. Because Earth wasn't hell. It was humanity's cocoon. And now, it had hatched. Above Earth, silence was a lie. Admiral Thaunax watched as Dominion command channels collapsed into static. Not jammed. Overwritten. Every encryption. Every failsafe. Every black box line reserved for God-tier intervention, cracked. Replaced by one emblem. A stylized T wrapped in fire. The emblem of the Terran Reach. This is impossible, Thaunax whispered. But the sky didn't care. It had begun to burn. Not from Dominion weapons. From ships. Human ships. They didn't look like warships. Because warships were meant to be understood. These were something else. Angular geometries that defied radar profiling. Heat signatures that dipped below zero. Armor that glimmered like obsidian, and reflected back only fear. Each bore names etched into their hulls. Vindication. Last sunset. Wrath of dawn. Forgotten oaths. And leading them, a behemoth that blocked a third of the orbital view. Earth's answer. Thalnax sent every code word. Retreat. Reinforce. Request ceasefire. Nothing. The fleet's AI core deleted his inputs mid-command. The Dominion's own systems no longer listened to him. Because Earth was talking. And everything else was listening. On the surface, the vault fully bloomed. Colonel Arwax didn't run. He strode. With each step, ancient weapons came online. Turrets buried for millennia, drones shaped like birds, satellites that cloaked entire hemispheres. Walker stood at the center, sipping coffee like he always had. But his expression had changed. He wasn't smiling anymore. He looked home. "We weren't sleeping," Walker finally said. "We were waiting. For you to prove we still needed to wake up." Chorna's voice cracked. "You planned this?" Walker shrugged. "Not really. But humans plan for everything." A council's nightmare became real. High above the galactic core, the Elder Dominion sat in trembling silence. Dozens of species. Billions of years. Whole worlds conquered. And all of them remembered one phrase that should have stayed legend. Terra Incognita. The unknown Earth. But now it had a face. It had ships. And it had a message repeated across every Dominion relay. "We remember. We return. We do not forgive." Inside Earth's orbit, something stranger happened. The human fleet didn't fire. Not first. Not ever. Instead, they transmitted coordinates. Each one matched an atrocity buried in Dominion history. Each a planet, a genocide, a betrayal. And with each set of coordinates, they said only one thing. "We will fix it." But fix didn't mean diplomacy. It meant judgment. Admiral Thalnax's final transmission. The camera shook. Fires burned in the background. Thalnax bled from one eye. "Do not engage. Do not provoke. Do not exist in their path." The humans are not reclaiming territory. They are correcting history. The Terran protocol reignited. From dead colonies to exiled planets, old bunkers lit up. Former human allies rejoined from exile. Some even cried, because they had never expected to see Earth rise again. Children who were taught Terran nursery rhymes suddenly saw the real heroes return. Ships answered ancient beacons. And from the void between galaxies, the last missing arc ships, those thought lost in the Exodus, returned. Earth was no longer a planet. It was a command center. A beacon of vengeance, restoration, and, strangely, hope. Because Earth didn't just destroy. Remembered? Walker looked to the stars one last time. He stood beside Colonel Arwax, who now had over 4,000 Terran soldiers at his back, each one reborn through cryostasis, armed with tech the galaxy hadn't seen in 10,000 years. "We're not staying," Walker said. "Earth's done hiding. We have wrongs to right." Ixit, once their captor, stepped forward. "And if we beg for mercy?" Walker looked at him carefully. Then nodded. "You'll get it. We're human. We start with mercy. But we end with justice." 1 week later. The Dominion's borders collapsed without a shot. Worlds switched allegiance instantly. Entire fleets surrendered just at the sight of a Terran scout ship. The galaxy stopped calling Earth hell. They started calling it what it always was. The home of the final war. Last log entry from Earth Command. Humanity didn't go extinct. We didn't vanish. We just waited until you made the mistake of thinking we couldn't come back. Now we remember. Now we rebuild. Now, we rise. Fire the end fire. If you enjoyed this saga and want more powerful HFY stories like this, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment what alien race should test humanity next.